Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. Today I have the house pretty much to myself except for Chiefy the dog. So I'm pretty happy about that actually. I've been going through a bit of depression, anxiety and things like that, as I mentioned in my last video, and even existential crisis or whatever you call it, thinking like what's the point of doing anything or trying anything when it just gets destroyed or it's not going to last, and just negative feelings even about life generally and about the guy upstairs, if you like, and things like that. So yeah, I think I mean, someone from a church group once told me there was I think it was a story about a king who said that everything's trivial, and so I think a lot of Christians would say they're like, you just seek stuff in. It's like the teaching, like, don't look for things on earth, look for things in heaven because it's supposed to be better. But like, even that, I just wonder if it would be that great. But anyway, that's a topic for another video. I was wondering whether I should cover those things, and I thought of so many different ideas, so I thought I'd stick with this one, as it's the 25th and Christmas is on the 25th of December, of course, so it's exactly 6 months or half a year to Christmas as well, coincidentally a little bit. But although 25th, I normally like to make videos like this, but I didn't really think about it, but it is, I'll say, exactly 6 months of Christmas. Anyway, I'll try not to waffle, but I wanted to give a visual example of something I've been thinking about recently, because I think it's good to give an example. But I was thinking, like, I know this sounds a bit pessimistic, like a lot of things I say. Gosh, I thought someone just came in there. So I hope I have the house to myself as much as possible and enjoy it. I love the freedom, but I'll come to that in a second. But yeah, for the intro, before I go into the list of my my dreams or goals or ideas or things like that, I was thinking, again, I know this is a bit pessimistic of me in a way, but a lot of times I think I'm quite an excitable character. I either get really depressed or really anxious, so I'm down here, if you like, symbolically, like right at the bottom, or I get really excited about something. I think, oh, it's going to be it's such an exciting idea, or such an exciting thing. And I think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but I think that's, again, people might think this is negative, and I know some people, in terms of goals, people say you should set higher goals, and not even, I think one or two people say it doesn't even matter if you reach your goals, at least they push you and all that kind of thing. But as Jordan Belfort says, it's most important to have goals that are just above your comfort level, and also that it's better to have a vision of what you want to achieve. But yeah, so people are, I don't want to sound too sorry, just jumping from point to point, but I don't want to sound too what's the word? Not pessimistic, but too antisocial perhaps. But I think it's great to have the house to myself. I hope other people, like my mum and whoever's going out, people are staying with us at the moment, and my brother, are having a great time. But I think that it's great to have the freedom, to an extent, of having the house to yourself, and also the weather's nice. So it's been quite good recently. So it's like I've been right at the low, and now I've got better. But anyway, sorry, I'm going to try and stick to this point of why I got this as a visual example. I think it's probably better to stay somewhere like here, and like not be too, somewhere in the middle. So imagine that's exactly in the middle, roughly. Imagine it's exactly in the middle, if you use your imagination. I won't draw a line on it because it's my mum's letter envelope. But I think it's better to stay right in the middle, because if you're too anxious or nervous about things that might not happen, it spoils your fun and joy and things like that. But if you're too sort of excited and think it's going to be great, and then you don't know unexpected things, I think some people call it, I've heard someone call it pragmatically pessimistic. So thinking about what could go wrong, especially if you're in things like business. I've never run a business myself, but so I think I'd probably be better to be somewhere in the middle, so I'm not too like anxious or nervous about what could go wrong, or things like. It's probably not. The mayor, Michael Bloomberg, who's also a businessman and a billionaire, said that it's never as bad or as good as you think. So it's probably best to be in the middle. And then if it is great, then it's better than you expected. But if your expectations are too high, if you expect too much from anyone or anything in life, then I think it can lead to a lot of disappointment. You're like up here, imagine if you go from there and you go up, and then it's a crash. You'll have a crash when you have a come down. It'd be like on drugs, imagine what it's like being on drugs, because believe it or not, I've never took drugs myself, but if you're on well, I do have caffeine in my tea a lot, actually. So, but yeah, as someone's mentioned it to me, it's a bit like a drug. You feel high and then it has a crashing low. So I think it's probably better to be in the middle. But I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear your theory on that, because a lot of people might say you should expect great things, because then you'll work towards those, or things might work out, or whatever. But I just think it can be anticlimactic. So I hope that made sense. Again, I'd love to hear what you think, and apologies if the intro's gone along. So here's a list of some of my shopping list items, if you like, things I'd ask for from life, for what it's worth. So number one, just basically to have a life worth living, that would be great. But also using the number one, I often mentioned before that, so symbols or numbers mean a lot of things to me. So for instance, the number one for me means getting things started, but it can also mean, I suppose, being on your own. So I love to have me time. I love to be on my own a lot of time. Like today, I'm really trying not to be, as I mentioned before, with this thing, not being too high up here, but somewhere in the middle, because I don't want to be too, I want to enjoy it while I can, but I don't want to be like, because when people do come back, I'll be like, oh no, now to worry about the noise and distractions and people wondering what I'm doing and whatever, and my quirky ideas and notes that I write and things like that. So I'm trying to make the most of it now and enjoy it, but not be too sort of high up, if you know what I mean, because again, it could be a crash and burn. But yeah, to be on my own and have me time, I think is really important. I'd love to live on my own. I know I've mentioned that before, but reviewing some of my goals, I definitely hope that I will live on my own. And I suppose I've got to learn key independent skills. And also, I'd love to support Asian startups. You're talking about number one and how it's about starting things up to me. Anyway, moving on. Number two, I would love to hear your questions and comments. As I often say, I'd love to hear what you think and also what sort of videos you'd like to see. I promise, if you do comment, I know I said that before, people might not believe me, but I may or may not. I don't want to 100% promise. The only promise I would like to make in life, I think I've learned as well, another thing I think I've learned is the only promise I'll ever make perhaps is I'll do my best. Because if I make a promise and then don't keep it, people will be disappointed. So I don't want to over-promise. I'd rather under-promise in many ways and then over-deliver, then you get a good feeling. So like I was at an event recently, it was excellent. I could probably give I'll give it an 8 out of 10. But I didn't have too many expectations, as I say, going back to sticking in the middle rather than actually being too anxious or too, you might have some things that you could write up or think about that, where you could think what could go wrong or what could go right or what could be good about it or whatever, and have some things, but I don't want to be too excited about anything really. And as I say, I think that, as I say, I'd love to hear what you think, and I promise I will definitely read, and I'll just contradict what I said about not promising anything, but I'll do my best to read every comment that's sent if I can, if and when I can. Again, I'll do my best. I suppose I'll make, and if I get around to making videos that you want me to make, like Q&A videos or anything else, live stream video. Well, I do make all my videos live stream, but if anything you want me to cover, I'll do my best to cover it. Number three, I would love to promote liberty and libertarianism. To be honest, I believe no one is 100% free. Another of my theories in life, I know it probably sounds a bit pessimistic again, but to me, no one is 100% free. So I'd love to be as free as a living thing can be, and I'd love to promote liberty and libertarianism. I got to admit, I wish God would give us many freedoms. As someone who believes in God, I think that I would disagree with him about what freedom is, and I do wish that God would give us many freedoms. I have so many questions and so many doubts and so many things like that would put me off even thinking about how could heaven be that great. But that's for a video for another time. But yeah, I'd love to promote liberty and libertarianism. Number four, I'd love to answer any of your, I sort of mentioned that point two, but I'd love to answer any of your questions that you have as best as I can. Again, I make one promise, and that's to do the best I can, but I'd love to answer to any of your questions that I have. Again, I'd love to live on my own and have peace and quiet. Again, number four, when I talk about what numbers remind me of, the number four reminds me of like peace, quiet, focus, goals, not being too distracted, and things like that. Those are some of the goals, again, some of those shopping lists for life that I have. Number five, I'd love to focus on 5-10-year plans, goals, aims and objectives. One more time, not being too like high up and thinking of things that could be great, or not being too low and anxious, seeing how things go. Seeing, like, obviously I can have in my mind how something will likely go, but I can't really predict that much how it will go, I suppose, and it's most likely going to be different to how I think. So some things might go wrong that I didn't anticipate, so I hope I'll learn to deal with them, and some things will be probably hopefully better than I think. So but yeah, I think again, I love to hear other people's theories, but being somewhere near the middle and not being too anxious or too excited about anything, if I can help it, which is difficult for me, and I'm sure for many other people as well. Number 6, as I say, I'd love to focus. I'd also love to support Italian football, encourage investment into Italian football, and work on many things like that, and like tax incentives and financial incentives. I often talk about for Italian football, where the Italian government and also politicians generally, even rival politicians, can work together on a shared goal, and also councillors and people across Italy in the political class, or whoever has the ability to do so, could provide tax and other financial incentives for investing in Italian football. And also remember my train of thought. But yeah, sorry if this video has gone quite lengthy, but I know I did do a long intro. But yeah, to have tax and other such financial incentives. And I'd love for Italian football to be like the Swiss, the national version of the Swiss, where they offer where I suppose the Swiss as a country remains neutral, where people put money into Switzerland and it doesn't tend to get attacked because it stores people's money, so it's sort of protected. I think that's how it works. So I'd love for Italy to do that, but with football specifically, so investors could invest money and avoid, let's say, wealthy investors could. So in the case of a divorce, or in the case of tax, or the case of all sorts of things, that could affect multi-billionaires and big companies and even countries. If they store the money in Italy, hopefully it will be. I'd love for it to be an international law where, as long as they invest in Italian football, they have access to the markets, and 2, they are protected from things like higher taxes or divorce settlements or all sorts of costs that they might have, insurance costs or whatever, legally, in the main word. And number 7, I'd love for similar things for Celtic, and also for God to show he loves me, I suppose, and to have good weather, again, to have the house to myself as much as possible, possibly, again, to live in my own my own house, so that I live by myself as much as possible, so I get as few distractions as possible. Like if I had my own house, it would be, if I could do a deal with the guy upstairs, it would be only me. I'd be the only living thing that lives in that house. I do love people, I love animals, I love living things and all that, but I'd love to socialise with them from a safe distance. So in my house, if I had my way, I don't like creepy crawlies or rodents or anything like that, so I wouldn't want any of those. But I wouldn't have any, even though I love dogs and cats and whatever, I wouldn't want to have any pets, because I think that's something to have to look after. It's a distraction. And I hope to work on my goals, which I hope to come to again in the future in more detail, and answer questions on those and things like that. But yeah, so gosh, this video has gone on long, so please forgive me. I did try and plan it as best as I can in my head, at least, and think through the ideas in the shower and things. I know people say when you go for a shower, when you go for walks or showers, it refreshes you and you can think more clearly about your ideas and analyze things and put things into perspective. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, as I say, I'd love to have my own me time as well, but sometimes to collaborate with people, but from a safe distance. Like if I want to socialize, I've got Facebook. If I get bored, I've got Facebook, I've got YouTube. I can listen to other YouTubers, I can make my own YouTube videos, I can write, I can do lots of different things to fill my time. Writing, YouTubing, typing, socializing in the park or in a library or in pubs or cafes or bars or whatever. But I think that's a better way to socialize, in my opinion. Like my house would just be for me, like my bedroom would just be somewhere where I go to sleep. But I do all my writing and stuff like that, my YouTubing and my typing and things like that on like a laptop, or if I had a place that the council gave me to go to where I could type or do things like that, I would use that place as well, or those places, if I was blessed or lucky or whatever enough to get such. 8, I'd love to be as positive as possible, so please forgive me if I'm ever pessimistic. I know there's probably a time to be pessimistic though, and to accept that sometimes things do go wrong and to prepare for them. But I hope to be, promise I like to be honest. That's why I probably shouldn't type on Facebook or go on YouTube or things like that when I'm, or maybe on YouTube when I'm in a negative mood, because I don't want to share negative thoughts and feelings and things like that. So I hope to be as positive as possible and maybe like an inspiration for others. Like if I recover from my problems and issues with mental health and things like that, hopefully I'll be an inspiration for others, including those with learning disabilities and mental health problems or going through issues. as much as possible. And again, I can network with other people perhaps on that issue. And I hope to spread love and peace and positivity as much as possible. Number 9, I hope to write as much as I can and talking about God and stuff like that, and religion and spirituality. Everything I get to write, I hope to appreciate it, and I hope to reward God or thank God by sharing, 1, by loving him more, and 2, by sharing biblical quotes, verses, scriptures, or whatever else, as long as those notes are done, as long as those writings or notes are done in the way I wish for them to be, even if they're given to other people, but written in the way, in my unique M.K.S style. And number 10, I hope to support young people, disabled people, and disadvantaged people around the world. And as ever, I would love to hear what you think. I'm sorry if I waffled. I'd love to have your review if you want to give me a mark out of 10, or comment whatever you want, or even if you say my video sucked, that's fine. Or give me constructive feedback or anything else. And I'm out. Peace out.